So to focus on what is already appropriated in the 2025 operating budget, so our current annual operating budget, we have over $200 million of operating funds that we expect to receive from the federal government. And these are typically things that either come to us by formula or are specific grant proposals that our departments have applied for, have been awarded, and in many cases have been drawing on for years in some cases. So that's one principal focus. There are also hundreds of millions of dollars of current and future capital programs that we are expecting to receive. Most of that is in Metro. And that's a whole different topic. It's more complex in some ways because it's multi-year, but that's also something that we need to share with you today. So just to do a few highlights by department. So in Metro Transit, they have $250 million approximately of grant applications with the Federal Transit Administration that they are waiting on. They have about $130 million of revenue that is budgeted in 2025 from that, including a lot for bus purchases. So one of the principal uses of money we get from the federal government in Metro is to help pay for the acquisition of buses in our system, and that's been true for a very long time. So that's one example. Going on to public health, they currently have about $70 million of federal money in their budget, excluding Medicaid. So Medicaid is a principal source of payment for people who come to our health clinics and some of our other health programs. But beyond that, there's about $70 million appropriated. As you know, that our public health department for decades has been very successful in getting federal research and response funding. And so they have about 100 employees who, at least in part, are supported by that federal grant money. So that's a very significant use. In community and human services, extremely reliant on Medicaid in our behavioral health system. And just to remind everyone, Medicaid is a joint federal-state program. So in addition to whatever the federal government might do, there's issues at the state budget that Councilmember Mosqueda alluded to earlier. That also potentially can affect Medicaid in the future. They also have about $100 million in their budget of non-Medicaid, about $55 million, for example, in housing and community development, $25 million for developmental disabilities and early childhood education, and about $10 million of non-Medicaid for behavioral health. So there's a lot of money in DCHS that's at risk. So let me now say what we have done and what we are doing, and at that point I may want to stop. So we have gone through this exercise since the beginning of the year to identify where all the federal money is in the budget, and I have not shared with you everything, but those are the large parts. And we've also set up what I'll label as an early warning system, where we are monitoring each of the agencies as they try to draw their federal funds. Do they encounter any difficulties in doing so? And right now, agencies are having a very mixed experience. Some are successful in getting funds. For example, just on Friday, the Climate Office was able to access that $50 million grant and a couple other grants they've received, and have actually received money now. And it's not just that the system processed it, but money actually appeared in the county's treasury. So that's an example where it seems to work pretty well. Others, it's kind of stalled. And in other cases, the systems that we use are gone, or get responses as if the technology has failed, essentially. So we are tracking that literally every week. We're hearing from each of the departments, so we kind of know what the situation is with our federal funds, and it will give us the ability, if we have to start to make decisions about that.